So, okay, so you come over. Now, Interac, do they have an orientation in a major city? Like in Jet, we come over, we stay in Tokyo for a few days. You're jet lagged, you have no idea what anyone's saying, and then they fly you out to wherever you're going to live. Do they do that in Interac?
It's pretty close.
Yeah.
The jet lag part is the same.
Did you have to pay for your flight?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so that's a big difference.
That's a big difference, yeah.
Our training
Okay.
was in, our particular training was not in Tokyo, it was in Okayama.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you came closer to where you eventually lived.
But depending on where you are located at, some Interac training is in Tokyo. So they have a bigger training, I believe, in Tokyo.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you met other people that were starting out like you guys, and you had experienced ALTs there and Japanese staff, and okay. And then how much, in Jet, we're kind of assigned, most of us are assigned a person that's in charge of our well-being, and it can be a person at the high school if you're a high school. You both teach at what kind of schools? I guess we should ask that.
Junior high.
Mostly junior high.
Junior highs.
And some
A
elementary.
little bit, yeah.
Some elementary. So you're in Jet. We're assigned a person that's kind of like between us and the Board of Education, and helps us get our apartment set up, get our cell phone, go to the bank, and set up all that. Do you have such a person in Interac?
We do.
Yeah, we have somebody in our small town who helps
Okay.
us with that, but any extra stuff, like actually getting our apartments, Interac set all that up.
Okay.
So I don't know who. I don't remember. There's several people within the company at the head office
Yeah.
that take care of all those things. But
Okay.
then once we actually got to our small town,
Right.
there's a person here who took us to the bank, helped us
Right.
to get cell phones.
Took us shopping for basics for the house, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And I've heard that in Interac, as opposed to Jet, you're given a stipend if you're in a rural area to buy a car. Is that true?
Actually, they provided the car for us.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So
I
you
don't know
you
if
pay
it's like
no
that.
rent or anything on it. It's just
No,
No.
yours until you leave, and then you give it back.
basically.
Okay.
I think on our paycheck it says like the amount that we pay for the car,
Mm-hmm.
and then they give us a stipend for that same exact amount. So it's basically like we don't.
Okay. Right.
Oh,
Right. They
yeah.
reimburse you for.
And
I
there's,
see.
Yeah.
and there's a gas stipend as
Yeah.
well, depending. But this is depending from situation to situation.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
could change.
So if there are some people, depending on where you're located at, that don't have a car, it's really provided for those who need it to get to school specifically.
Right.
It's not just, hey, we think we'd like to be able to travel around, so here's
Right.
a car.
And Eric, you have had a total of how many schools that you visit?
Me, I have two different schools, junior highs, and then I have, at the moment, one elementary school.
So 3 total. Michelle?
I have 3 total.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you do some traveling around.
A little bit.
And we should just get this out of the way. It's well known that jets make about 30 mon, which is 300,000 yen, or if it were 100 yen to the dollar, about $3,000 a month. I know Interac is a little less,
It is.
Yeah, but it's comparable.
but it's close, right?
It's close. It's a little less, but
The main difference is they, and I think it's related somehow to the fact that JET is a government program.
Uh-huh.
But their expectation for the way that their work hours are is different. So with Interac, we will receive less money, but we have more time off.
Right.
But again, I think that is it like depending on what city you're in, where some have to maybe spend the summer when they're not in school at the BOE,
Uh-huh.
Board of Education, but sometimes they don't. I think it depends from city to city.
I
Okay.
don't think Interac has to go to the BOE because there's no direct relationship with the BOE.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
think so. It's all
So
through the
I
company.
think like during the summer when a lot of the jets have to go to the BOE and they're getting paid for that time, but
Right.
Interac employees don't have to.
So is it literally you're clocking in for hours, or is your paycheck the same every month for the most part,
it's the
because it's
same
just
every month.
assumed that you've worked 35 hours that week?
It is,
Yeah.
but
Okay.
but then vacation time will be subtracted
Right.
by hours, though.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so
I think the cap is actually 29.5 hours per week.
So, for instance, right around Christmas until just after New Year's, which is a big holiday in Japan, most jets get 2 weeks off, which they're quote unquote paid for. It's holiday time, but nobody in Japan really works a lot during that time. Interac, you also get that time off, but you're not paid for it. Is that the difference?
Right. We're paid
Correct.
for like just a few days of it.
Okay.
But usually,
not-
what it's
not very
related
much.
to is like if you have days that are assigned as quote unquote work days.
Yeah.
You maybe don't have to go to work, and often you don't.
Uh-huh.
But you're sort of on call. So basically, you need to be within enough proximity of the city, so like within 24 hours, you could get back if they needed you.
Okay.
So you can't just fly out to Korea or fly down to Thailand. You have to be there. So that's kind of what it is. But during your time where you're not paid, you're pretty much free. You just need to communicate with the company where you're going.
So it's March now, and you're coming up on graduation. Now, one of the big differences with Interac is they seem to hire on the Japanese school year.
That's right.
So when you finish, you finish in March, and the new crew comes, and the new ALT will arrive and start in April.
Yeah.
Correct.
So if you were staying and you were going to continue teaching, is it easy to ask for vacation time and to say take a week off to go back to the States or travel around or?
It depends.
Yeah, we haven't had to really request a lot of time off, so we don't really know.
Okay.
But, for like the downtime where we don't actually have to be at school,
Right.
like, it's really easy to request that time off.
Okay.
And some of it, if it's not actually considered like work days, we don't really have to take the time off because we don't actually get paid for
Okay.
some of those days.
Dennis on Facebook wants to know, does Interact offer a good network system like JET or other programs? I guess meaning, are you connected with other Interact employees to hang out, to go do cycling, to go visit sites, to do ski trips, whatever it is that maybe you're interested
It's not really the
Not-
same kind
yeah.
of focus on community as JET. It's much more. There are some outlets to do that. I know that some people do stuff online and connect that way or within their own cities. But what I've witnessed with JET, there's a lot more specific. Like
There's like an AJET structure in place.
There's nothing like
We
that
don't
for
have that
Interact.
with
Okay.
No, we don't.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, we do, when we go to trainings, we talk with other ALTs and we
Sure.
connect with them that way, but there's no like
Nothing official.
actual.
Right.
I think there's an Interac Facebook page, but
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
that's not really
Exactly.
the same thing.
So to follow that up, Jonathan asks, how difficult is it integrating into the local community, the local ALT community, since you're, not a JET? Did you find it easy to make friends?
Where
And
we're at, it's been incredibly easy.
Cool.
I think it depends on the city.
hmm
I don't think our experience is exactly the same as everybody's,
Right.
but we've met people from Interact that have had very similar experiences, and then some people who have had very different experiences.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe the size of the city has a lot to do with it.
And I think
Yeah.
also, well, we're lucky with our city. It's mostly Jets, but there's 3 Interact,
Mhm.
the 2 of us plus 1 more, and
Mhm.
I don't really feel the difference.
No.
Like we're just like one big family.
Okay.
So,
I think, and we've been invited to a lot of JET functions too, AJET functions as well. So
Yeah.
there's kind of it seems pretty seamless actually.
Yeah.
It's really just companies rather than just. There's some logistical differences, but as far as community-wise, it just feels everybody's kind of on the same page.
yeah. Plus, I think most cities have some kind of like, they have events. Like the actual BOE or the city will have events with all ALTs, so that
Right.
is Jet, Interact, whatever other companies, and so automatically you're kind of like part of this,
Bigger.
ALT
Yeah.
group in the city.
Okay.
So,
So getting back to the application really quick, because I missed this question. Somebody on Facebook asked, I don't have a driver's license, this person says. How would it be for me in a rural area? And another person in a similar question asked, I have a very old DUI. Would Interact not accept me? So,
I don't think we can really say the DUI.
is there a place on the application, do you remember, where it asked if you've ever been convicted of a felony? And do you have any of this or that?
So they asked some kind of question. huh?
maybe.
yeah.
That's something I would. You'd have to talk to
But
Interact.
I
I'm not
remember it
Okay.
wasn't as like rigorous as the Jet application.
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
And let's say you didn't drive and you lived where you live now. Would you find it difficult, do you think?
If I didn't drive.
Yes.
But I think they take that into account when they're placing you. And if it's
Okay.
if you don't have a car,
Maybe you get
or
placed
if you can't drive, you don't have a license.
Yeah.
I think they try to place you somewhere where you maybe don't need one, or
But
maybe.
something that's really important to know too about
Mm-hmm.
Interac is versus Jet is what I know about Jet is wherever you get placed, you're placed there.
Yeah.
With Interac, there's some flexibility as far as where you get placed, and we do know. Actually, a good friend of ours who was here for a while. He was here for almost 2 years. Was put in one city and did not want to be in that city and wanted to be in a larger city, and he was able to go to a larger city.
Okay.
So you can say,
flexibility.
I don't want that city, and they will try to
Okay.
kind of regroup and find another spot for you.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
they're really helpful with that kind of thing.
If
That's
you said,
interesting.
I don't want to drive, I want a position that doesn't have driving, I think there's a good chance they would try to accommodate.
Yeah.
They're pretty good about
And
that.
a couple of our friends actually didn't have cars.
Yeah.
I think one of them took his bike, another one was able to just kind of take a train or something to his schools, and it was okay.
And when you go to conferences and you meet other Interac ALTs, are the majority of them American? Or is it a good mix? Or
Well, I would say probably more often than not you meet American ALTs, I think, throughout Japan.
yeah.
But I've met quite a few ALTs from England, Ireland.
Okay.
We've met a lot of Canada, Jamaica.
Mm-hmm.
What else? Singapore?
How about like Australia, New Zealand?
Australia, New Zealand.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
There's a pretty good mixture.
They recruit from all over. All right.
Absolutely,
Okay. Let me think. We're wrapping it up here for Interact. Oh, somebody asked if you leave Interact, can you do Jet? I'm pretty sure you can, and vice versa. I know Jets who've become Interact ALTs
yeah.
and stuff. So
I think that's more common, right? Just because some people
there's
want
a
to
cap
stay
on
like
Jet.
indefinitely, and it's after 5 years they can go to Interac and just stay as long as they want.
oh, Interac doesn't have
There's
a.
no
There's
cap.
no cap for Interact.
There's no cap. Okay.
We've met people well into their 40s that have been ALTs since they were
Yeah, like 10,
They're-
15 years.
yeah.
Wow.
Have
Wow.
families, still work
Okay.
for Interac. Yeah.
So overall, I know it's obviously very specific to your situation, but you've enjoyed your time on Interact and you would recommend it
Yeah.
for other
Yeah.
people looking to be an ALT?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Our experience in a nutshell has been that, we have Interac lets you kind of, well, at least from our experience, we've been kind of let to be free to do what we need to do. The good thing about them is that I've experienced, and I haven't been a Jet, so I can't speak to that, but you pretty much can channel most of your concerns directly through your branch office, and our experience has been that people are accommodating and helpful. We're also not very alarmist, and we don't generally have tons of things, but as far as the day-to-day things and basic concerns, I really haven't experienced anything but positive things.
Good.
No lie, it's just...
I've always said that Jet is what you make of it. You know, people get worried about being placed in this place or this place, and I'm like, I got lucky. I felt like I was in a great city when I was an ALT, but I think I would have had an equally interesting experience anywhere. It's if you're that type of person who can roll with the punches,
Yes.
and be flexible,
Yes.
and make the most of it, you're going to enjoy your time because Japan is awesome.
Yeah.
You know, so
I agree.
Absolutely.
And I don't think there's a huge difference between what we do on Interac and what Jets do or
Yeah.
other ALTs do on Jet. It's pretty similar. I would say the biggest difference would be Jet focuses a lot on the Jet community, and there's
Right.
a lot more of like that connectivity that we don't have with Interac. And the other big difference is we don't have to go to the BOE during
No,
summer
that's a
breaks,
big one
when
for
the-
us.
Yeah.
It's a big one, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
we don't get paid for all of that time, but we do.
Yeah.
yeah, if
It's
you
a
budget and
trade-off,
save right,
yeah.
you're fine, right?
We get all
So,
this time off. I mean, like a month and a half in the summer. It's great.
that's cool.
That's one of the best perks, I'd say, for us is
Yeah.
just having so much time free to travel. But it does come with a little bit of a financial cost, and you have to kind of plan for that.
Yeah, you have
Yeah.
to plan for that, but
You know.
Okay, great.
worth it.
Thank you so much, guys. We'll come back with
Okay.
part 2, and we'll talk about being married.
All
Okay.
right.